Ladies and gentlemen, Bulldozer TV is back after a 2-week sabbatical. I was busy. I had a lot of things going on. So I took a 2-week sabbatical, but I am finally back. Arsenal 1, West Ham 0. This was the game that was going to decide the title race because West Ham are fighting to get out of the relegation zone and Arsenal is fighting to win the Premier League. So you had all set of fans, excluding Arsenal and then Tottenham fans supporting West Ham United. And you just only have Arsenal and Tottenham supporting Arsenal. So it was a good game in terms of physicality, but it lacked technicality and skill. It was a physical game throughout. It was a game that you play on a Sunday morning. That's the Sunday morning games at the backyard where the boys come together and it's all about physicality. We place bets on the game and we just go hard on each other. That was what the game was about. And the referee did a little bit well in the beginning when he allowed the game to flow. But then at a point in time, he was just calling fouls upon fouls, fouls upon fouls, and all the fouls were going for Arsenal. That is the gospel truth. All the fouls were going for Arsenal. The game was veering towards a 0-0 draw until Fernandes, who had a pretty good game to that point, had the best chance of the game. He had the best chance of the game with a very good run and then 1-1 against David Raya. He has so many options to score the goal. When I mean options, he could have just chipped the ball over Raya. He could have just faked a shot for Raya to sit and then place the ball. He could have shot it to the far post of Raya. But what did he do? He just went to the first post of Raya when Raya made a very good save. Until then, the game was just, Arsenal was just trying to probe, trying to score, but they weren't creating very good chances. It was just a decent chance, but it wasn't a killer chance. Gyökeres was anonymous again. He was nowhere to be found. Saka didn't really have a good game today. Eze not having a good game. And then who else? The players, Arteta made some silly change when Ben White went down. Instead of him to bring Mosquera, he rather brought in Zubimendi and put Rice, who was their midfield engine, at right back. But then he knew, and everybody knew that he had made a mistake, and he corrected that mistake in the second half by bringing in Mosquera and then pushing Rice back to the midfield. Because when Rice went to the right back, West Ham started to take over the midfield, and they were creating decent chances. So he realized his mistake and then corrected it. On a very good goal from Trossard. He's a clutch player. Let's call a spade a spade. This guy is a clutch player. He always scores whenever he is needed. And this is the thing. To me, he's not a starting 11 player. He is a substitute, a superstar sub. That is the kind of player he is. And he came in clutch today. A very good pass from Odegaard. The defensive line and the 18-yard box of West Ham was so crowded that for him to shoot the ball around the defenders, although he had some niggling deflection, that was a really good goal. And that was a really good proof from Odegaard, waiting, pushing and waiting till he gave the final pass to just scored a very good goal. And then there is a controversial goal. West Ham thought they have equalized, and I thought they have equalized because I was screaming. I was like, is Arsenal going to bottle it again? I thought and it was from a corner. Something that I have been preaching about and I have been talking about. I am not against scoring corner. What I am against is the pushing and the shoving in the 18-yard box when corners are going to be taken, to the point that they push and they shove and they fight and they wrestle and they wrestle the goalkeeper to the point that he cannot even come out and claim the ball. And that was why West Ham goal was disallowed. And in my opinion, it was a clear foul. Pablo, although he was being pulled, Raya could have got the ball. Honestly, People will talk about Arsenal have been doing it throughout the season, which is true. But then I have been a champion against it. I have been a champion against it that I do not want to see this in modern day football. Even in the past, they weren't scoring corners in such fashion where they were wrestling players, where they were pushing goalkeepers, where they were fighting goalkeepers. No, the goalkeepers used to be the most protective species in terms of football. And just this season, it used to be them, they were going extinct, meaning that they were being pushed and they had to be strong. How do you become strong when players have already pushed you? When players have shoved you? When players are doing all these kind of crazy things? And Pablo actually fouled David Raya because he had his arm up. David Raya could have just touched the ball, and then Pablo had his arm across David Raya's arm, which means that he couldn't catch the ball, which means that he couldn't grab the ball at the first goal. So in my opinion, it is a foul, and the goal was rightly disallowed. Kudos to Arsenal. They are no more the bridesmaid. They have finally become the bride after 3 failed engagements. Arsenal have finally become the bride because there is no way they are going to lose the Premier League. Let's go, Gunners. Congratulations to Arsenal for winning their first Premier League in 22 years. Until then, as you know, it's Bulldozer TV, and cheers.